Okay, so I wanted to make a video showing off the bases my friends and I have been making because I really like this game and think some of them have been starting to look pretty cool. So this is Bridge Base. This is my base that I've been working on. It's currently under construction due to the mushroom incident, which we will get into later. But I took an existing bridge. So this is what Bridge Base looked like originally. The main conceit are the drawbridges. So in defensive mode, the drawbridges are raised up. There's a nice big open area for the zombies to fall down into. And when we don't have to be worrying about defense, the drawbridges come down. You get a nice little open area for picnics or whatever. You've got all your crafting tables and whatnot in here. And you've got your supplies packed away, nicely protected. There was a second floor. There will be a second floor again at some point. There just isn't one currently. So let's hop on over. This is the Inconvenience Store. This was kind of a temporary base for a while. It's been hidden by my wife's revenge forest. Over the hill, we've got the shotgun bungalow. Very simple design, has proven to be quite effective. Just essentially a block of concrete, a whole lot of spikes around it. Nice, sturdy, double thick walls everywhere. You've got your safe area with your chests for your ammo. A panic room down below. That's where we put our respawn points, although nobody's ever died at Shotgun Bungalow. Named Shotgun Bungalow because you stand up here with shotguns and shoot down through these railings. Quite effective, probably the most effective horde base we've built so far in the game. Oh, that's not good. Okay. And this was built out of nothing. So there was nothing on this hillside originally. My friend just built the entire structure. Ow. That's a lot of birds. Excuse me. Okay, so obviously there's been some modifications. This wall was not here initially. My wife has locked me out, which is not atypical. Fortunately, we can just sneak on in. So she's got automated turrets set up. Nicely reinforced area out here. Grates you can shoot out through. This is all concrete going pretty far down because the zombies can end up digging down through the ground if you damage it enough. Got the first fallback position with a little kill box over here, so if they start piling up, similar to Shotgun Bungalow, you can just shoot down. And then a tertiary fallback position has not been necessary yet. And then she's gone, and this is all concrete in here, but she's painted it up. She's put fancy glass into the windows, which looks really nice, I feel like. She's got a mine down here. That's where all her forges and whatnot are. This is my stuff when I temporarily had to stay here. And then up above, we've got farms. Got to make sure that they have access to daylight, otherwise they won't grow. Got her jack-o'-lanterns decorating the place. And then we've got an overwatch position up here for Horde Nights. Everything is barred in because, as you saw, birds can be an issue. And then her plan is to extend this all around the base. So yeah, very impressive construction. This has used a ton of resources, but it's definitely the most impressive construct in our game so far. And that's one of the nice things about this game, is that the structures really feel like an investment. As you level up, you start to gain the ability to harvest way more resources than you do at the start of the game. So your ability to build things scales very naturally. It's not something like, oh, you have to unlock this, that, or the other piece of a building. You're still building it out of little blocks, but your ability to collect resources and produce those blocks has just naturally increased, and so you're able to make bigger and stronger fortifications, kind of in line with the game becoming more difficult. Because originally, when you first start the game, generally what you do is you pick a place like this, and you put a bunch of these spikes around it, and you don't really build much of a base yourself. As you can see, when you have a lot of people leveling up their wood chopping, you're able to produce many spikes. But they didn't really build or reinforce this much. It was just adding spikes to it. And this has survived several Horde Nights now, so it's in pretty bad shape. But we've got Shotgun Bungalow now, which is significantly sturdier. Somebody left their punchy turret here. This was the original home. The Boxcar children lived in here. So now there's just one more base left to look at, which two of my friends have been working on up in the mountains. They were also the ones who lived at Inconvenience Store originally. That was their temporary base until they had stocked up enough supplies and resources to strike out into the mountains. We'll just ignore that. The vehicles in this game also feel a lot more impactful than in many other games. It takes quite a while to get to the higher tier vehicles like the motorcycle and the truck. you've got a couple of tiers below those that are slower and don't have as much storage, but they're still a big improvement over having to walk everywhere. And the game kind of very naturally opens up on account of that, because when you're low level, you can't really afford to go very far to do quests because it takes a while to get there and back, and you also need to be thinking about Fortnite and where you're going to stay. So you tend to take quests that are fairly nearby, don't take too long. Then as you start leveling up, you gain the ability to go further and further out, deal with different types of weather conditions, you've got more food, etc. So it really very naturally expands as you go. When we first started playing, so we're at the gate of Moria. We were playing in this area. This is the Inconvenience Store over here. And we would pretty much do a couple quests down in this area, a few quests in this area. This was kind of our radius, and that's slowly expanded so that we're doing quests like 2 kilometers away now instead of 800 meters. And this is still not a whole lot explored. I think the map goes to about here. But this has been a very gradual sort of increase in our radius as we go. So my friends decided they wanted to create Moria, so they found a nice big mountain here in the snowy region. They got this nice little natural entrance into it, and they just started digging. So not sure what this chamber is for, but they dug and dug and dug and dug. And this is bedrock down here. So they hit the bottom of the world, started digging out. This is their Great Hall, I guess. They've got their crafting stations over here. They've got chests for all the various things in the games. And I believe, yeah, their farms. They've created an underground farm with a well of light and death. As you can see, they've spiked up the bottom of it because this is a shaft that goes all the way up to the surface to let in sunlight, which then allows all this stuff to grow. And game-wise, this is a lot of food. Like just an absurd amount. But they wanted to go big, so big they went. And they've clearly got plans for this place. So, very ambitious project. And the nice thing is that as they're mining this out, they're generating tons of resources. And XP as well. Pretty much everything you do in the game gets you XP, which is nice because it allows people to be like the miner or the builder or whatever without actually having to spec into that in any way. It's not like you have to select that as a class type or anything. You just do stuff, you do whatever you want to do, and you get XP for it and resources and whatnot. In this game, you just go to the trader, you pick a quest. I'm taking a small one. They're all either clear or fetch clear. This one is just kill all the zombies in the house. So I'm just gonna set this to be my active one. It's 1.7 kilometers away. So all the way over in this other city. Which early on you wouldn't really get a quest that far away. But at this stage in the game they start handing you out farther and farther quests to kind of encourage you to explore the map some more. And at this point it's fine because we have motorcycles. Okay, so as we close in on this, the way this game works is when you get a quest, it sends you to kind of this hand-built building of some sort. And in order to make sure that you always can do the quest, when you start the quest, it resets the building. And there's little bits of randomness inside of it, but it's always going to be almost exactly the same. Actually, I need this stuff. So when you're running these quests, when you're first doing like tier 1s, you're going to be super careful because you're slow, you're weak, each zombie is kind of a huge problem. And you really have to be careful. Then as you get higher level, they start becoming less and less of an issue. And the way I really love their design philosophy for these quests, every building has like a legit floor plan because it's all destructible, right? If I wanted to go straight up, I could break out the floor and just build up into it. So there's no like empty spaces where there's nothing because all of it is accessible. But what they do is they always create a route throughout each quest. So I could go up these stairs, right? There's nothing actually preventing me from, whoops, taking out these spikes and just walking on up, right? This is blocked here, but, you know, whatever. I'll just dig it out. But, oops, looks like I woke some of the upstairs zombies up and they're falling down through the hole I made. They always put in a route that you can follow that will take you through the whole house, right? So here these doors are unlocked, so I can go in there. There's a bunch of kennels here, so this is going to be a place with dogs, which makes sense because the sign out front said it was doggos. So as we're walking through, it leads you through all the little handcrafted encounters in it. And periodically there's stuff like this where there'll be a loose floorboard, there's some stuff hidden inside, there'll be picture frames on the walls occasionally like we saw. Go away. Over here, these will sometimes have little hidden things behind them, stuff tucked under stairs, behind couches. And those are all semi-random, so they've got preset locations where they could be, but they're all handcrafted to some extent. Then there will be stuff like this, right? The floor has caved in. There's a light indicating that, hey, look over here. They love to do this. They love putting lights at broken windows and whatnot to say, hey, this is where you should go. So we're able to just hop up here. Is there anything behind this? Nothing waiting to jump out at us. So This door is locked. There's a chair in front of it, so that's not where we're meant to go. We came up here, followed the path around. This window is broken out already. Just enough for us to fit through it. There's the doggo sign. Go around, find the next window. There's our hole that we made from below earlier. And now, this is too high to jump up here, so it's just flavor. So this is our route. This window is boarded up. Shotguns do a lot of damage to blocks, so as you can see, we're breaking through a bit. And now, if I wanted to, I could just go out this window. Nothing's stopping me. But I'm going to keep following their path that they've put together. Okay, here's their veterinary office, looks like. And then... Alright, that's one way up. Over here we've got a little hidden panel. Got some delicious honey. It's like, you don't, at this point, you don't really have to grab all this stuff, but it's just such a nice little bit of seasoning to your path through. These assholes. Okay, looks like there's still... Whoops. Okay, so I've cleared out all the enemies in the area, so now I get to go back to the trader and cash this in. There's also always a big loot pile at the end of the path, which is always nice. And then, you know, you can just leave. But, like I said, there is absolutely nothing stopping you from just climbing on up and grabbing the loot. And as these quests get higher and higher tier, they start introducing stuff that's using the same basic elements, but introducing stuff that you kind of learn about in the game over time. There will be floors that break away from under you. There will be platforming things, like they'll put little bits and pieces that stick out, and they can be extremely subtle sometimes, but as you play the game, you'll kind of learn, oh, I can stand on this. That there is sticking out far enough to be a platform, whatever. And it's using the same blocks that you've been seeing the whole time, but in ways that just feel like you've learned enough about the game that you're able to spot things that you wouldn't have when you first started. It's not anything to do with your character's skill points. It's not anything to do with your items. It's just, oh, I recognize this type of block now. I know that I can step on that or shouldn't step on that, or whatever. I know enough about how buildings are laid out in this game that this room might be an issue, or there might be something hidden away. It's just extremely satisfying and the best designed quest system that I've come across in an open world game like this. They're just extremely talented at coming up with little narratives for each house. Like this one, super simple, right? This is a house that's under construction. That means we've kind of booted this out already, but instead of going in through the front door or whatever, there were piles of concrete over here. Here's their little light. You climb up. You start from the top because it's all exposed, because it's under construction. The floors are given out. It's not finished. You've got construction worker zombies in it. You've got piles of cobblestone, bags of concrete, which, bags of concrete give you concrete. Bags of cobblestone give you cobblestone. You can see it's all... It just feels so much more organic. And because this is an unfinished house, right, all this stuff is super flimsy. Just smash right on through it. Other places, right, they'll have brick or concrete for the walls. Very difficult to break through. This place, we could tear this... Oh, okay, the bottom floor they've already finished, it looks like. But yeah, and a lot of times in this game, this is fantastic loot right here. Look at all this. Concrete. Big piles of bricks that give you tons of stone. Got your bags of cobblestone. In a kitchen, right, you've got the fridge. The fridge disassembles into electrical parts and iron. Sink gives you iron pipes. Occasionally. Not this time. Oh, because I'm full. Short iron pipes. Everything breaks down into things that you would kind of expect. It's just... It's so good. Okay, now I can't get out. What about this way? No! Alright. Through the door. So yeah, it's just an extremely well put together game. It's a little bit janky, but in ways that don't really matter so much. This underlying grid system and the quest system, extremely well put together, very well designed, and they just have such a good sense of how to make an interesting encounter. Some of the higher level quests, you can spend over an hour just walking through the building, following the path that they took or built for you, and it all feels unique. Like, look at this. I want to go in here. I want to know, what is this? Is this some kind of church? Some kind of gathering hall? Somebody's clearly, like, you've got places like this where people tried to fortify, right? That's the story behind it. They walled off this section, and then, look at this. The zombies broke in a different way. Stop. There's all kinds of buildings that have little environmental stories in them, and they are just super well laid out. There is never any dialogue or quest info or anything like that. It's all just using the environment to tell little stories, and they are really good at it. So yeah, that's 7 Days to Die. I think it's really good.